Hello, in this video I'm going to show how to draw this waveform in Visio. You can find this figure in an article available for download on IEEE website. The article is open access, so you can access it freely. On the third page, you can see this figure. You can download this Visio file for this tutorial from the link provided in the comments below. Let's go. I click on File menu and select New and create a new file like this. I add text to start. I name the X and Y axis. I use Times New Roman font and set its size to 12. This is X axis and this is the Y axis. I changed the name it. To rotate the text, click on it and then press Ctrl R. To draw a line in the tools group, click on the line. For a more setting, right click on the line and select format shape to open its window. As you can see, I adjust the thickness of the line from this section. I add an arrow at the beginning of it. I rotate the line with Ctrl R. To copy the shape, hold Ctrl, left click on and drag the mouse to move the shape. In this way, I draw the axis of time. Okay. I add a new line like this. From format shape section, I selected desired dash type. I select this. I increase the thickness of the line. So I decrease the thickness a bit. I increase the length of it. I copy the line. I write the value of the axis like this. I write the value. The first letter is capitalized. To return it, I press Ctrl Z. To subscript the letters, select them and then press Ctrl equal. And make the first letter italic. I resize the box. I modify the value name. I decrease the font size a little. I copy the text for the other value. I change it. Okay. And adjust them. To equal distance between the text, select them and then choose distributed vertically from the position section like this. To align the text with the line, first select the text and then the line. Next, navigate to align section and choose align middle. Like this. I copy the text, change the name, and so I adjust the text and the line. I use a text box to label the axis value like this. To align the text, I select them and choose the align top from the align section like this. I adjust the text. I increase the font size a bit. Okay, to start drawing waveforms, I add a new line. I increase the thickness of the line. To draw a curve, I click on this icon. I click on the more shape, then I select general and finally graph and the mass shape, and I add a multi-line as follow. I adjust the starting and the ending point of the line. I right click on the line and select change to curve. New points are added by clicking on add point. I can adjust the curve by changing the position of the yellow point, as you can see. Add a new point and change the position of the yellow point. I adjust the curve. I add a new point. Okay. Then I increase the thickness of the curve. Okay. I add a new multi-line. By right clicking on the line, I select change to curve. I adjust the ending and starting point of the line. I edit the curve by clicking on the yellow dot and modify it. I increase the thickness of the line, as you can see. I select the line, then press Ctrl C to copy. I adjust the grid line. I increase the thickness of the line. I add grid lines to the time axis. Like this. I copy it. To align, I first select the line, then text, and choose align center from align section. And I repeat the same process for the remaining. Okay. To color the background of each section of the waveform, I add a rectangular shape, as you can see. I select the desired color from the fill section in the format shape window, as can you see. Okay. To remove the outline, the shape, I choose no line from the line section. From the arrange section, I select the send to back icon to move behind the other shape. I copy this shape, send to back. I choose the color of the shape and modify the size. Okay. To mark some point on the waveform, I do it like this. I add an ellipse and I draw a circle. And I resize it. I increase the size of the circle slightly. For fine alignment, I select the line and then the circle and choose align middle. To copy the circle, first select the shape and then press Ctrl C and finally press Ctrl V. I adjust the location of the circles. As you can see, okay. I use line to name the points like this, two line. I click on the text, then Ctrl C and then Ctrl V, change the name. I copy this part, text and the line. Again, change the name. I add a multi-line for this part. I remove the point, change to curve. Adjust it. Okay. I increase the thickness of the line, as you can see, and I change its color. I add an arrow at the end of the line using this section. Okay. I change the name. I label this band by using a text box. I enter the name. To align the text with the line, I first select the line and then the text and choose Align Middle. I select the text to italic. To display the band range, I use an arrow line. I decrease the thickness of the line and set the size of the arrow to very small. I copy the line and rotate it by pressing Ctrl R. I copy this arrow line to name this point of the waveform. I increase the thickness. I name it by using a text box. I name the two color areas. I enter the name. I change the text color proportionally to background area color and bold the text. I copy the text and change the content. And change the text color. To resolve the overlapping issue between the text and the curve, I copy this area and adjust its size. I select the text and select bring to front from the arrange section. Okay. To mark the 0 time point, I add a line vertically. In the design menu, I click on the size icon. Select fit to drawing to adjust the page size, as you can see. I hope you enjoy this video.